Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 2. I hope you all had a great first week and you're starting to feel comfortable and confident moving into this material, this setup online and with your friends as well. I really enjoyed the introductions, the pictures, and the discussion that was going on in the forum. I did just want to say I want to make sure that everyone understands that there are no grades. There's no, expectation that you do everything perfectly the first time. It's just an ongoing discussion in the forums where we share our ideas and thoughts and build off of one another. And with your first assignment being this week as well, it's not for a grade, it's just for feedback so that we can kind of keep going in the direction that you want to go with the goal that you set. Our focus for this week is just a continuation of last week, but we're going to push a little further. So we're looking specifically at the characteristics of superheroes. So what do superheroes embody? What characteristics do they hold to? And then if we're looking at multiple superheroes from past, from the present, from many different corporations that had these superheroes from many different countries, what characteristics hold true across multiple or maybe even all superheroes? And then we're going to look into what makes those characteristics stand out and why those specific characteristics. Something that I just want to call attention to, and we do have a lot to go through this week, is looking at similarities between superheroes and also looking at this idea of superhero as, kind of a template, like the hero's journey, but also the way we might set up a superhero, the way we might put in different characteristics or different pieces. So there's a lot of similarities between the journey that these superheroes go through, the way that they look, the way that they are interacting with the world around them. And we'll dive into that a little bit more next week too, with this idea of power and power that they hold. But here are some examples, and I like that we're comparing Spider-Man with some other movies as well with heroes in them. And I know some of you are fans of Harry Potter, so I hope that drives home with you, but also that you can think about that personal interest that you have in Harry Potter, and you can kind of think about how that journey is reflected in some of the journeys that you read about with these superheroes. So a lot of times they'll start in the ordinary world, and then they'll have this call to adventure, like this greater call beyond themselves. And this week, as you are creating your own superhero, think about how that superhero, will have interacted from the ordinary world to that call of adventure. And sometimes that experience in the ordinary world impacts the way that they deal with that call to adventure. After the call to adventure, they have that refusal of the call. And this can be minor, it can be major. And I like this example of The Lion King because I feel like it's so concrete, this refusal of where Simba goes completely away and goes with Timon and Pumbaa, just leaves and refuses this call to greater good. And then there's this other person in the superhero's life. They need someone to mentor them, to work with them, to help them move further and accept that call. Then there's this first threshold. So there's something that happens. There's some, moment in that life of that person. So if you've learned about the plot diagram of a general story, just the normal plot diagram where you start from, starting out, then there's this rising action, that's where we kind of are here. So there's this rising action. They refuse the call, they've met their mentor, and then they're coming across something that is really, moving to them. It makes some kind of difference in their lives. They have these test allies and enemies, people that help them, people that want to hurt them. I want to focus more on this next week, but just to get you all thinking, is this idea that there needs to be something for the hero, the superhero, to go against and to be, rallied upon, whether it is a person, a cause, some type of event, some higher calling. There has to be something for them to unite for or against. Usually there's this innermost cave, or there's this area where it's safe for this superhero. Like if you think of like a safe space for them to be, like Harry with that room where the Philosopher's Stone is hidden, or somewhere where they're safe with a person, or they've had some revelation. And then there's this reward where something good happens to them, but they're not over yet. They have this roadblock where something, again holds them up and holds them up on their journey. They usually get resurrected in some way, and that means sometimes they could die and come back. Sometimes something terrible could happen to them, like they go to the dark side and then they come back. Some type of way that they are resurrected again to their hero form. And now, this hero story can keep going and going and going. You can see that with some of the movies that we have out with superheroes now, where they kind of go through this journey and then go through it again, and it doesn't have to end just because they have returned with something magical or they've accomplished their task. A lot of times there's these mini tasks within maybe this giant task which they never accomplish. Maybe they want to make the world a better place and they're doing these little things to make it happen. They never get there, but they keep going through this cycle. For your task for this week, you're going to have your discussion forum, but then we're going to have our assignment and our exit ticket. For our discussion forum, you get to design your own superhero. So think about what we talked about and the superheroes that you've already come in contact with within your life now and ones that you really resonate with. There's a video to kind of get your brain thinking around this, and then you can draw your superhero, you can create it on the computer, you can do a collage, whatever works for you. And then you're just answering these questions here so we can know more about your superhero and you can discuss with one another. Ask your friends questions about their superheroes and why they choose certain powers or why they, made it look this way or made it look that way. So engage them in questions. Your assignment this week, there'll be a list of superheroes, lots of them. And you can, if you really have a different one, I know I've already talked to one of you, if you have one that, you really want to work with, feel free. And then also choose two from the list. Try to make one, two that you're unfamiliar with so you can dive into a new path there. You're going to do a 3-circle diagram and answer these questions. I just want to show you what a 3-circle diagram looks like. You can draw this out, you can do it on the computer, whatever works best for you. But a normal Venn diagram, you have the differences and the similarities. Here you're comparing, you could compare Spider-Man to Batman to Wonder Woman. So that'd be A, B, and C. And then you'll compare how Batman and Spider-Man, A and B, are similar. And then how Spider-Man and Wonder Woman are similar there. And continue going. And the very center are similarities between all three. So characteristics that you see with all of them. Keep your list of characteristics as well because we'll be using it in our exit ticket. I know some of you have said that you really like to plan and you like to be forward thinkers. So I just want to share this. It is your rubric. Again, it's just feedback, but if you want to look at it ahead of time, just so you know what you're going to be receiving feedback on your assignment, this is for you. Your exit ticket. Like I said, you're going to keep that list of characteristics that you noted from your assignment, and there's going to be a live word cloud. That means as you enter these words into that word cloud, everyone's words together come in that same space, and you can see if characteristics are written down more than once. Say you pick brave, and that characteristic has been entered by everyone, maybe multiple times. That word in the word cloud will get bigger. So you'll know that the characteristic or characteristics that are salient through all or most of those superheroes will be the larger words. So you'll get a chance to look at that and see what characteristics you think span everyone. So it's not just your three, but the other ones that your friends have looked at as well. I think that'll give you a good sense without having to research as many superheroes. Lastly, I just want to remind you that hopefully you've turned in your objective, and if you haven't, please do. And if you'd like to edit it because of what you've learned this week or what you're thinking on, feel free to send that in an email, and I'm happy to update that for you. Don't feel locked in. After this week, hopefully we're working toward that objective. You can always edit it, but hopefully we have that kind of settled so we can push forward. But if you do want to edit this week based on what you learned, please feel free to email me. I'm excited to see what you all do this week, and please, please reach out with any questions that you have. I'm excited to talk through with you and really excited to see what you all put in the forums this week.